I said, look, property is collapsing. People said, nonsense. Property is not collapsing. But down the line, today property is collapsed. The property sector is gone. I mean, that's the main pillar of Chinese growth. That's gone. How can your country, survive if your main pillar of your house is collapsed or grow ahead? It's been now 1 year since the, the collapse of the property sector. There's no revival. In fact, if anything, the decline is now pronounced. There's contraction of the economy, there's deflation, there's declining demographies, X, Y, Z. I can keep talking. But I'll put across to you certain key factors of this decline. And you understand from that perspective of what I'm going to tell you. And like I always do, I'm not an encyclopedia like what Srikant Kondapalli was. He was great. I will put across to you a structured presentation and explain issues. Right? I'm not an academic. My knowledge of China is a little different from his. Okay. First and foremost, we all know that China has come out with the national security doctrine earlier this month. It's very funny. Why did they come out with it? There are a lot of things. There are 7 core pillars, 5 global commitments, key domains and concepts, notable achievements. Ye sab hai kahani. But I will look beyond that. You go to any website on this, you will get analysis on that. What China has done, not done. Yeah, talk. But the timing is not correct. Something is wrong with this security doctrine or white paper. Is it to be a bridge between the 20th Party Congress, which happened in October 22, or the 21st Party Congress, which has happened to happen in 27? Is it Xi Jinping's personality, which has over-securitized China for the past 10 years, 12 years he's been in chair? 12 years, 2012 he took over. That China has forgotten the fundamental contract between the people and CCP of I give you security, or rather I give you prosperity and you give me your rights. Today Xi Jinping is saying I'll give you security, you give me your rights. The prosperity has gone out because there's no prosperity in China today. But at the same time, he still wants to rule the world. So my way of looking at it is there is anxiousness in this whole story and there's ambition also in this whole story. The anxiety of a collapse and the ambition of ruling the world. What is this anxiety all about? Ambition, though we've known. China has been ambitious for the past 20, 30 years, ever since Deng Xiaoping said, we don't avoid a war, and you'll become a superpower one day. And all those nonsense. Then Hu Jintao, Jiang Zemin took it in one direction. Hu Jintao was the real architect of China's rise and its militarization and all that. He's been thrown out. Xi Jinping he came out with something else. I mean, that's a story which I can keep talking for the next 5 days. But Xi Jinping has over-securitized China. But in his tenure of 10 years, the Chinese economy has slowed down. And a lot of things have happened. So from ambition, there's anxiety. Right? And he wants to be emperor for life, X, Y, Z. But there are cracks appearing in the overall structure of China. So let's discuss those. Few days back, 2-3 days back, it's come out. There's this general, Hongjun, or jo bhi hai. He's died by suicide. Last year, Xi Jinping, if you see here, made him a full general. And this year it dies. He is Xi Jinping's chela, and he's been implicated in corruption or whatever, and he's no more. Very serious. He's a full general. And he was part of Xi Jinping's pick guys. He was fast tracked into becoming a general. And he was handling personal work or issues related to personal work and security and things like that in the CMC. He was not part of the CMC. He was with Mia Hua. Oh, every guy who was Xi Jinping's hand-picked guy in the CMC has been finished. Li Shangfu was thrown out last year. Right? He became the defense minister and then he was thrown out for corruption, this, that, and all that. PLARF and all. October, November, Mia Hua was again a key pick of Xi Jinping, thrown out. Now, it is rumored that he was, put under the ringer and he sang like a canary. And he gave out a whole lot of names who were involved in whatever activities, whether it's anti-state activities, anti-party activities, anti-Xi Jinping activities, whatever. But he was supposed to be the key member. He was a key chap of Xi Jinping, taken out by Zhang Yuxia, who is the vice chairman of CMC. And mind you, Zhang Yuxia was brought into the CMC because of Xi Jinping. They were childhood friends. Now, this was in October. Earlier, 1 month back, He Widong was taken out of the equation. So far, he was missing. Now it is said that he is dead. Right? And he was also a guy, just 3 months back, he gave a talk to a lot of people and gave a diktat. Anyone who's corrupt will be caught and put out AWO. Next month, he's purged. Now he's dead. 50% of CMC, which is the most powerful organization in China. We don't know whether Xi Jinping is still the chairman, whether Xi Jinping has any control over Zhang Yuxia. Who's controlling PLA, one doesn't know. It must be faction ridden. It's not only these chaps. It is, people say that the Eastern Theatre commander is also under the wraps. The Western Theatre commander also is, being fingered, and XYZ. So PLA is in schmozzles. Over and above that, we know what's happened to the Chinese equipment now in, Op Sindoor. None of it has functioned. That puts a lot of pressure on China and Xi Jinping. Now, Xi Jinping can't trust his own military. The military doesn't trust him equally. So PLA is the big question mark. The leadership, the equipment, fighting capability, loyalty to the party, everything is suspect. There's a problem. Okay. So, and like I said, the CMC is the most powerful organ in China. Throughout history, even Mao had difficulty in controlling the Central Military Commission. Deng Xiaoping, after he relinquished his role as the president of China and the general secretary of the party, he still had hold over the CMC as a chairman. And he controlled Jiang Zemin through the CMC. Okay. This was repeated later by Jiang Zemin with Hu Jintao. It was only later that Xi Jinping was given all three posts. Despite that, there's a rift. So there's a problem. Okay. The problem doesn't end there. This is the standing committee of the Politburo. Now, I must explain. China has a Politburo of 25 members, the top 25 in the Chinese Communist Party. Out of that, 7 to 9 members are taken as the standing committee of the Politburo. They are the elite of the elite. Normally, those 9 members or 10 members, whoever that is flexible, were handpicked or adjusted representing faction interests. So each faction had a representation in the Politburo Standing Committee. That was the case till at the end of 19 Party Congress. When 20 Party Congress came in October 22, Xi Jinping retired everyone who was not his chela. He culled out Hu Jintao. Very famously, Hu Jintao was sent out during the 20 Party Congress. He was shunted out publicly. Now that fellow is coming back through others. This Politburo Standing Committee was handpicked by Xi Jinping. Every guy was his chela. There's a problem now there. What is the problem? Sai Chi was supposed to be his personal secretary. If you go by what people say and what rumors are coming out, Sai Chi has turned against Xi Jinping. He is no more in support of Xi Jinping. Wang Huning. Wang Huning is a survivor. He served with Jiang Zemin, Hu Jintao, and now Xi Jinping. Past 25 years, he's been in the Politburo Standing Committee. He is a ideologue, propagandist. He draws his power from writing the propaganda of the Communist Party. He is also the boss of the Taiwan Affairs Committee or whatever it is, that thing. Office of Taiwan Affairs, I'm forgetting the thing. So he is the boss there. Now, he is showing signs that he wants to come to the top. And he's been spoken of in the past 6 months on and off that he could be one of the successors of Xi Jinping. And then there's this guy, Li Qiang, the Prime Minister of China. He was, the top honcho in Shanghai during the COVID. His performance was pathetic. Everyone thought he'll get axed. But lo and behold, he became the Prime Minister. Why? He was loyal to Xi Jinping. His only qualification was loyalty to Xi Jinping. The others are also all handpicked. They don't have much standing. Now, Kai Chi has turned against Xi Jinping, as people say. Will Wang Huning also plow his own path? Or a new guy will come from outside? We don't know. Because that's hazy still. The CMC is in wrist. It's completely broken up. This is in a mess. So the question is, who will succeed G? Is now making rounds. You take any China observer, Lee's Real Talk, everyone says who will succeed Z. Okay. So there's political chaos. Military is not up to it. Politically, people are not up to it. Economically also, it's bad. Out of the blue, national security white paper comes. There is chaos. And this happens when there's decline. I have no doubt about it. Right? Okay. Every year, China sets a target, GDP target. Last year, they said around 5%. This time also, they gave indications of about 5%. Already 3-4 months into we're in the 5th month, half the year is getting done. China cannot reach anywhere near 5%. In fact, Rhodium Group puts it at about 1 or 2%. That's the most, even that is an overstatement. Many people say China's GDP has started contracting. And China's GDP is always overassessed by about 20 to 30%. It's been doing so for the past 30 years. It cannot be 19 trillion. Yeah, maybe about 8 to 10 trillion or 11 trillion. That's it. That's the assessment. That's the baseline assessment of many people. The official thing is 17 trillion. There's a big gap. And now people have started coming out and saying, oh, we should only target 4%. They know 5% is out of question, 4% also is out of question. And they say focus on jobs, debt, because people are in debt, people don't have jobs. If it goes like this unchecked, there might be a revolution. As simple as that. Are there intent? Is there social unrest in China? I'll come at the end. I saw some article which I picked out. We'll talk of it. Property was the biggest pillar, 20%, 30% of Chinese GDP. They're hoping that it's bottomed out. I showed this. Caxin Ekai Global, one of the top economic websites, says, has the property sector. But no. First, Evergrande collapsed. Then Country Garden went bust. The complete Chinese machinery said the third big developer was Vanke. Vanke should not be allowed to go bust. They said, no, Vanke's business model is good. Then China supported Vanke. Right? Vanke is bust. Today, Vanke is gone. Thank you. Right? I see one idiot from China coming and talking. Right? Now, we are talking of him. Their bloody pants are down. Okay? Their pants are down. So, Vanke is gone. Okay. Now, there's something else happening. Local governments at local level are trying to buy land and give money to the developers to continue. Developers don't have money because they've taken money from people. They don't have any more money and they've spent it wherever they want. That's all gone. They can't finish the flats, but they have land which they took from the local governments. So the local governments are buying that land and giving money to the developers. Ke bhai, ghar to khatam karo. So now a reverse flow is happening. China is trying its best to revive its property sector, and it is not happening. It's not happening. It will not happen. Next problem, consumer inflation rate. How will look? I've always said India is a consuming economy. China is not a consuming economy. Japan is trying to become a consuming economy. Germany is not a consuming economy. Germany, Japan, and China are exporting economies. Now, the problem with the exporting economies, they were all aided economies. They were aided and abetted by USA. These chaps used to produce and USA used to consume. They never had a habit of consumption. So USA can twist their tail, which USA is twisting all three tails. USA can't twist India's tail because India consumes. We are not bothered about anyone else. We want someone to give items to us to consume. And this is the consumer inflation rate in China. It's going down. Chinese consumption is going down. Chinese consumption can't go up because the population is declining. And they don't have jobs. And they're in debt. The average chap in China is going poorer by the day. Right? And a lot of people now are saying transfer wealth from the state-owned industries and the wealthy state part of the economy to consumers to kickstart consumption. Not able to do it. It took 10 years for Japan to get to that. Abenomics. Maybe someday I'll explain. Shanghai has unveiled a special action plan. If you read this action plan, it has nothing in it. Nothing useful in it. Okay. All economists are saying, let's nurture consumption. Have a wider social safety net. You'll be surprised. This is the problem of communism. You see, now in India, we have religious societies. We are a religious society, whether it's Muslim society or Christian society or the tribal societies in the Northeast or a Hindu society. We have our structures in some form or the other which provide the social security net. It's not very great, but we have. The society takes care of us, the religious structures do. China did away with all those religion, everything. There's no religious net. The social security net by the government is not there. So what happens to the bottom? It's falling. If the bottom is falling, there's no consumption. Whereas for us, our cultural nets are working. Okay. I mean, I can talk of this for the next 2 hours and I'll not get fed up. Someone has written, I picked it up today. I must read it out and you must understand it. China's insufficient consumption is not an acceptable deviation from international average levels, but a significant gap of 20 percentage points, which can be described as a structural deviation. Now, China has high saving rates. Its high saving rates and low consumption rates are related to significantly high proportion of government net assets and state-owned equity capital in society's total assets. That's what this fellow is saying now, which I've been saying for the past 1 year. China is a rich state with poor people. Now they started accepting it. And now they're coming out with the writings like this. He says this characteristic was advantageous when we were in the industrialization on investment-driven stage. But now that that stage has passed, the problem of insufficient consumption shows a structural deviation. Yes, playing with words to say everything is okay, but the bottom is falling out. He says we have a choice. We face a choice, rather. Should government net wealth and state-owned capital returns continue to be used for savings and investment? Or should they be redirected to support consumption? That means what he's saying is take money from the state-owned thing. The state has to give free money to and put money in the pockets of people to start consumption to re-kick the economy. But is it politically acceptable? If the armed Chinese is given money and he starts spending like an American, he'll question Xi Jinping and the Chinese Communist Party. He'll want political freedom also. पैसा मिल गया तो political freedom चाहिए भाई. He'll say go to hell. That is what Xi Jinping has now ensured, that there's not enough money with the people. Xi Jinping turned towards hardcore communism only because at the end of Hu Jintao's tenure in 2000, when was that? 11-12, China was coming to a stage where a lot of people had money, and guys like Alibaba's Jack Ma wanted an alternate currency system through crypto and things like that, and he wanted more freedoms. That's why Xi Jinping threw him out. So the danger of putting money in people's pockets for consumption has to be weighed politically against economically. In China, politics always wins. Anything to do with China, look at the politics. Now we'll come to the trade war. One thing I must say, whatever we'll talk of Trump and India, USA tomorrow evening with Gayatri Devi ji, in हिंदी में बात करेंगे हम इंडिया यूएस रिलेशनशिप, वो पर कल की बात है. बट जो भी है, ट्रम्प has put good chavi on China. He's caught China with pants down. Though today, Chinese factories are closing and the jobs are getting hit. There's a huge job loss. Even now, with just this 30%, tariffs, and they're now negotiating. Even with this, there is job losses in China are continuing. If the tariff talks don't go well between China and USA, the job loss in China will be so huge that they will not be able to manage it given the current political situation. No one else can consume what China produces. Forget what happens to USA. Let's focus on China. The focus is on China. Their unemployment has gone through the roof. Like this is it. If you this was when the break took place and all. Today it's here. And now another 12 to 14 million people are coming into the workforce. There are no jobs. Period. Shenzhen has taken a hit. That is their top exporting, hub. They've taken a hit on the chin. That's what he says. They themselves are saying. Why should I say? This is all Chinese news. I talk with facts and figures. You can go. This is South China Morning Post. You can go. Now China, when the last tariffs came, China offshored everything to Vietnam. Through Vietnam, it was only a transshipment. They used to enter a Vietnam port with full goods and exit the Vietnam port as made in Vietnam, and it used to go to USA. Now USA is turning the screws on Vietnam. There's nothing doing. Nothing made in China will be filtered through Vietnam. And Vietnam has now stopped cooperating with China. This article is how China stands in the way between US and Vietnam deal. But if you see, if the US and Vietnam deal has to go through, China has to be culled. China will get hit even more. So whichever way you look at it, China is going to get hit in the trade war. What happens to USA? I couldn't care a damn. I said this. That's what I said. It doesn't matter who wins the trade war. And for us, historically, neither USA nor China have been good to us. But let's be clear, China is our major adversary. On that, we should have no doubts. It will remain our adversary. And it's not running away. China might decline, all that, but it's not going to collapse. It's not going to break up. If it breaks up, it could. That's a different story. If the politics go so bad, Tibet might say independence. That's a different story. But the politics in Tibet are not on those lines at this point of time. All our adjustments have been tactical, whether it's with USA, Russia, or China. I'll talk of it tomorrow. As far as I'm concerned, in this scenario, Indian interests are supreme. We have to look out of ourselves. The thing doesn't stop here. This is something absolutely out of syllabus. BYD, which is supposed to be in great profit and which is supposed to have the greatest share of EVs all over the world, has suddenly cut its price. Why? It was facing competition from others, so it had cut its price to undercut everyone. It's a survival strategy. Now, BYD with this price cut will start working on wafer-thin margins. In doing so, it will price everyone out and kill the competition. But it will still be on wafer-thin margins. If something happens, BYD also will go. If BYD also goes, their complete EV market will collapse. And in any case, not despite all the halabula of having produced the maximum cars, this, that, and all, there's a market saturation happening because EVs, Chinese EVs are not sold in USA, neither are they sold in India. But after Op Sindoor, I don't think any idiot of an Indian who buys a Chinese vehicle should be kicked. I don't think we should buy. In fact, we should ban all Chinese vehicles from here. Make it on your own or forget it. And in any case, Mahindra has come out with something great. Let's go for that. If you want to own an EV. So, their prime auto is in problem. But remember, the auto sector, the high-tech sector, all that cannot replace property. Property is still in the dumps. No, the Belt and Road, this is very funny. The Belt and Road, earlier China used to fund money for the Belt and Road for the past 10 years. Now China is saying, I can't fund you anymore, please give me money back. From a debt distributor, it has become a debt collector. So once you start going to all nations and say, give my money back, so they might give, might not give. That's a different story. But your influence, your goodwill with them has gone. This is China's story. But what we need to understand is China remains the largest bilateral lender in 7 of its 9 land neighbors. That is Laos, Pakistan, Mongolia, Myanmar, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan. The only neighbors which doesn't have, lending thing, it's not a lender to, is India, Bhutan, and Russia. And of course, North Korea. They're trying their best that birth rates are not going up. In fact, they're going down. They're just going down. Incentives, piggy poogie, sab kuch kar lo. No subsidies, whatever they're doing, they're going down. So if people are not there, how will you consume? There's a nice study. It says, look, a lot of consumption in a household takes place due to children. Children want toys, children want clothes, children want this, children want that. You want to invest for children. So a lot of it for children. When you don't have children, there's no consumption. Isn't it? Just think for yourself. If it's only you and your wife, what will you consume? You will have 2 days for 3 meals. You will live a grand house. What after that? What? We all live for our children. China stopped living for that. They have only one child, and many chaps don't have children. So Chinese will live for robots. And then this alignment, there's a new geopolitical problem on the horizon. North Korea. North Korea was supposed to be their, tight partner. No more. Why North Korea is their most dangerous thing? This is North Korea. Have a look at it. And let me make this bigger. Okay. North Korea is just 500 kilometers or 600 kilometers from Beijing, heartland. No other adversary or no other area is so close to Beijing. Taiwan is far away. Whatever happens in Taiwan, they're not bothered. South China Sea is thousands of kilometers away. Indian border is thousands of kilometers away, 5,000 kilometers away. They're not bothered. But what happens in this Korean peninsula, 700 kilometers away, they're bothered. And this North Korean chap has gone to Russia, towards Russia. He sent troops to Russia. He depends on China, satellites from Russia. Now he's taking energy from Russia. He's already said 2 tengas to China. He wants to make a deal with Trump. Now Trump is saying, I want to make a deal with you. The moment Trump starts entering North Korea, just imagine he's sitting on next to China. South Korea is in a problem of its own politically, and they want to nuclearize. So geopolitically, it is not only against India and Pakistan that China is this thing. In fact, Pakistan and China, India are its least problems. The bigger problems are here for China. You have to look at it from Chinese perspective. They don't have the capacity to come here. Let me be very clear. Yeah, look at this. This was yesterday. There's a textile factory in Sichuan province which has been burnt. Why? There was a chap who was not paid, or some chaps who were not paid. This article is hazy. Because he was not paid, they burned the textile factory. 2 months, 3 months back, if you remember, there was mass killings. One chap drove a vehicle into people and killed 60 people. One chap went and did knifing of 13, 14 people. Now these things are coming up slowly. Is there unrest happening? I don't know. I mean, let me be very honest. I don't know. But when such things come, you have to take note. Because when one thing comes in China like this, there are 10 things which have not come out. And they can't help themselves. They're again building a huge canal where there's no water. I mean, they have some way of saying they have water, but maybe someday I'll talk of climate change in China, the climate problems in China, and the water problems in China. And in the south, parallel to the Yangtze, they are linking up, Xinjiang and Jiangxi province. A 700-kilometer canal. Because without infrastructure, their economy can't grow. So they'll build canals, even if it doesn't make is of any use. It's going back to the old economic, Keynes theory. If you want to revive the economy, give money to a chap to dig. He can dig anything. Let him dig. He can dig trenches and fill it back up. Give him money for the job he's done. The economy will revive. That's what China is doing. There are problems. Young Chinese, 4-5 years back, when this Tangping started, people used to say, oh, we'll work till 30, 40 and then go and retire and relax and all that. Now all that is stopped. They can't retire before, they don't have money. Because the money they had, they put in flat flute. That flat has gone down the drain. Its resale value, whatever it is. Now they have to work. If they don't work, they'll starve. Period. All this they are saying. I'm not saying. Trump has barred Harvard. There's a whole story going on. And the biggest hit of foreigners enrolling into Harvard will be Chinese. So their influence operations in China, in USA is going to take a hit. Because they were dominating Harvard. Harvard is the biggest, the apex of the Ivy League. The top was Harvard. Harvard Chinese can't go now. In any case, Chinese are not being, allowed too much in China, in USA. So their influence, their thinking, higher education, all at risk. Last time I did this thing on China, I said the rates are down to 1%. Deposit rates. So Chinese are lost. This I said last week. Rate cuts happening now. People don't know where to put the money because you put the money in the bank, you get nothing. You might as well keep the money at home. How will you keep stacks of money at home? Someone will rob it off. The day is not far when Chinese have to pay to keep money in the bank. They can't put money in the stock market. The stock market is done. They can't put money in this Chengdu aviation where J10s they'll sell all over the world because that stock is also going down along with the rest. They can buy gold. Gold they're buying. How much can they buy? How much can they hoard? And Xi Jinping has not allowed money to flow out. It will only go through Hawala routes. So if you see all this, mind you, 1 week, 10 days. Last time I spoke on China to now it is worse. Xi Jinping in the beginning of the year called all private people and said, I will revive private sector. But private sector is being squeezed by local governments. They say, Acha, private sector, you want to work here? Please first give money. Because local people don't have money. Local governments don't have money. So they were milking private sector. China is trying to, at the state level, they're trying to tell the local governments, lay your hands off private sector. But where will they go? So there is a rift between the local governments and the central government. This story, China clamps down harder on local government shakedowns of private businesses. I've been hearing for the past 4 months, ever since Xi Jinping met all businessmen. Somewhere around February, March, he met. I don't remember. I did a program on it also. to revive private, because people feel that only by reviving the private sector will Chinese economy revive. Chinese economy will not revive. It's only going down. And if the economy keeps going down, we'll go back to Clinton. It's like the economy is stupid, so China is in decline. Why should I say the China is in decline? They themselves say China is in decline. They said fresh belt tightening push takes aim at white elephants, lavish meals, and flowers. So you can't buy flowers in China. No lavish meals. So if you can't buy flowers, the flower industry will go down. That's simple. I mean, everything has a cause and effect. No, you don't have lavish meals, the restaurants will close down tomorrow. You don't have money, damn it. So you have to do belt tightening. This is what they were doing during COVID. COVID was different. You had lockdown, down, and all that nonsense. No other country is doing all this except China. In USA, the opposite is happening. Automatically, people are not buying anything, or the rate of buying is going down because there's nothing on the shelf. So they're saving. Their economy will get better. Household economy will get better in USA. See, we think many things the other way around, but life has a strange way of moving on its own. So I get back to my favorite brick wall, the brick wall of China, which I put 2 years back. The basic of this brick wall is demography, climate change, and political instability. The spearheads of the top layer of the brick wall is diplomacy, technology, and military. The connecting bricks are real estate, infrastructure, jobs, export, consumption, food security, healthcare. The bottom is shaky. Demography, climate change, and political instability have set in. Demographic decline. Climate change is common to all, so it will affect all. But in China, it will affect more because they built. Now, if a flood comes in a vacant stretch of beach, some flood will come, water will go, some coconuts will go off, and some sand will go off. But if there are 4 mansions and well-developed beach, and the flood comes or a tsunami comes, all those mansions will go. So your development has a cost, and development cost of climate change is very high in China today. Or the loss due to climate change as a result of overdevelopment, they are getting hit. Okay. We know real estate, infrastructure, exports are down today. Private sector is not anywhere. We saw that. Jobs there, consumption is not there. Food insecurity is just about around the corner. In any case, China is perpetually food insecure. Healthcare is useless. What was on the top? Diplomacy, technology, and military. The military is now in dumps. Diplomacy is not working. Only technology is the only thing which is standing. The rest are all gone. This is the decline of China. And we have to deal with the declining China. Let's be very clear about this. China is declining, and we should know how to deal with it. As it declines, it could get more aggressive because, like I said, I go back to that thing. It is ambitious but anxious. Anxious but ambitious. Will that ambition externalize problems? Will it give a boost to Pakistan? And China has a history. In 62, Mao Zedong invaded India during the Cultural Revolution, during a famine. So there's mad disconnect between what China does externally and internally. They're two different things. We have to take care of our security, of our economy. How do you do that? We'll discuss. I'm only now trying to put across things. Do we have anything to fear? We don't have anything to fear. how we deal with China is something I'll get a panel to discuss. But I thought today I'll put across to all of you where China is. His economy is going down, your economy is going up. The rate of your economy going up is pretty fast. So you have to find a new modus vivendi. Should you get distracted by Pakistan? Or are you being distracted by Pakistan through China? These are the questions which we have to think. Right? I thought I'll put all these issues to all of you. I hope you like this video. If you like this video, do press the like button, subscribe to my channel, and also join me as a member. I'm grateful to all of you who have joined me as members. Right. I do understand a lot of people from China come and troll us. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Even Pakistanis are trolling me. It doesn't matter. But we have to get on with life, all Indians, with confidence. Right. With this, thanks a lot. I'll take a few questions on. I have time. We have about 14-15 minutes. We'll take some questions on. Which one is China's weakest link compared to India? Army, morale, citizen morale, military tech, youth population, enmity with neighbors, enmity with US, CCP, declining economy. None of these. It is their demographics which is the weakest. Their demographics will kill China internally and they can do nothing about it. And I've said I'll do a thing on the population of China one of these days. I've done it once before, but I'll do it again. I'll talk of their marriages. I'll talk of their, aging problem. I'll talk of their reducing workforces. I'll talk of their divorce rates. All those. We'll talk because I think we need to keep refreshing what their fertility rates, everything. The inflection will come around 2030. And this I've been maintaining. Around 2030 to 35 is when China will change drastically. And by then, you see, you're already at $4 trillion. By 2030, our economy shouldn't be in the region of about $7 to $8 trillion if in a conservative way. And theirs would have started contracting. Make no mistake, it will contract. Because there's an imbalance in their economy. There's huge imbalance. The amount of money they've put in their military is not going to pay them back. To maintain this military, they have to keep pumping in more money. Their money, which is stuck in the Belt and Road, is not going to come back. And if your demographic decline is happening simultaneously, you have no consumption, you have no workforce, you have to take care of an aging population. That's the killer. And that's going to kill China. My view, this is it. Let's see as we go along. Forget about CCP, PCP and all. They'll all go. Societally, every society which has aged has stopped fighting. And unlike other societies, these people don't allow migration because of the racial issues. They don't want anyone except hands. So they can't invert. You see, even USA has a declining population. Their fertility rates are slow and all that. But they are prepared to take immigration. So they'll survive, not these chaps. Okay. Magnum Opus, thanks a lot for your super sticker. So honored. Okay. Yeah, yes, I was one of the viewers on that video last year. You are absolutely right. I mean, let me say something. And it is not a boast. I'm only stating a fact. Whatever I have predicted about China has come true. And whatever I have predicted about China is not an astrologer's prediction. It is a prediction based on data and information coming out of China. Period. In 2020, that was the time when this chap Adi Achin started his defense talks. I was one of the first guys who promoted him. I used to tell, people, we used to talk about PLA on Kailash Ray and JO, all that. I used to tell the day will come when PLA will go back from Demchok and Depsang. It has happened. They'll never come back again for attack. It has happened. They will go down. It has happened. The slow collapse of China has started 2 years back when Rajiv and I spoke of it. Now China is in decline. I'm stating it today. So we're going to see a troublesome China. China will be troublesome to us. It's still it's like a big mountain collapsing slowly, sinking slowly. So that's it. Yeah. What's China's hammer and anvil approach for India, sir? Very simple. Pakistan and trade. Pakistan, trade, all that. They've hammered you with Pakistan now. That's the hammer. Your neighbors, so many things they can do. They built it over years. You have to now break it. Yeah. Their population figures are also manipulated since long, but by some estimate, it is around 800 million. Please make a video on this. I'll do that. I'll do it on population one of these days. I'll do it in the morning one of these days. Sir, speaking the truth as it is the best narrative. I agree with you, Akshay. That's why I stick to the truth. Won't China's economy grow if they stop bullying the world, especially the USA, and do a trade deal? They can't. Look, economy is not a factor of just being nice to everyone. It's a factor of people. People make economy. It's not technology which makes economy. It's not robots which make economy. It's people. Economy is about people. When there are no people, what economy is there? Yogesh, all viewers, please click the like button, subscribe to this channel, share videos with your family and friends. Thanks a lot, Yogesh, for your help. I'd request all of you to do so. Yeah, will there be a ever leader like Modi? Let's hope for the best that we have better leaders than Modi. Why only him? He's been good, but we should have someone better than him. Yeah, your biggest asset is your data source, what China writes about itself and not what perception is. Yeah, that's it. You have to analyze what they've come out with. In the next 5 years, robotics will mainstream and every house will have a robot. It might change everything for China. Robotics, AI, to clone, manufacture. Yeah, your value program, you're being too optimistic. Then you will say, yeah, two robots can have sex between themselves, and what about man and woman? They don't need to do that, and then they don't need to procreate. Robots will procreate through AI, and it will become. Yeah, you're looking in some science fiction. Forget it. Yeah, this is something. Respected sir, what can we Hindus do to counter China's influence peddling through real estate deals in Western nations and be good Hindus? Yeah, that's good enough. Be true to your dharma and do your dharma well. Or Mahabharata has everything what we have to do. Live life that way. We'll do well. Everyone wrote off India. We have civilizational strength. We will change. We will come up. I've given you that thing that there is no force in this world which will stop us to reach our destiny. Be very clear about that. Rajendran Nair, thanks a lot for becoming, YouTube my member of Ghana Shot. Yeah, ask Jen. Most likely, a reformer face will come up from CCP thoughts. I don't know. I don't see anyone at this point of time. There'll be a factional struggle. You see, maybe one day I'll talk of this because I have different ideas of this. You have to go back to the Gang of Four time. You have to go back into the history. Xi Jinping has not allowed anyone to come up and develop. All these Japs are minions. The guy who comes will not have the political power, not will have the experience. So there will be a tussle. In this tussle, the economy will go even more down, and he'll make mistakes. They might make the mistake of going into Taiwan and getting hit. They'll get hit. So let's see. That's why I said we're going to have a troublesome period for the next 5 years. They're critical. I've always said 2025 to 30 will be critical in India's trajectory. It's critical for because of the fact that China is in a mess and it's going to be in a bigger mess. It's also critical because USA is getting into a mess. Yeah, awesome. Thanks a lot, Hans, for coming in. Yeah, Chardamir Putin, I have been to China and India. My choice is China. Thank you. We don't need you here. Don't worry. There's no issue. Yeah, make an issue on Indian water problem and Indian population. Yeah, I'll do that some one of these days. Let me see questions. Yeah. Dipankar Kaushik, how should India respond to potential instability in China, especially on its shared border, including issues in Tibet, Xinjiang, and border tensions in Ladakh and Arunachal Pradesh? Our military has to be strong, our administration has to be good. Simple. As simple as that. And we are heading there. Don't worry. You're the first credible voice that focused on the main threat to the free world, namely a CCP run PRC. I've been your avid follower ever since I realized that. Thanks for your service. Thanks a lot, Jayant, for having reposed trust in me. Whatever I've said is coming true, and I'm very happy for that. And equally concerned because we have to handle this problem. We would really appreciate if that presentation regarding the natural environmental process in the region. The science can't be argued with because one of their major rivers is in trouble. I'll talk of their environmental issues. I have a full presentation on it, which I've developed over the past 3 years. Sorry, sir, saying there's no prosperity in China is an exaggerated statement. Fine, that's the way you look at it. I have no problem. There must be prosperity, but it is no more as it was earlier. We need big social media channels, news channels, all that. Yeah, we'll talk of it. I'm going to get General Shukin Chauhan, who's written two excellent articles on information warfare and all that, and info dominance. I'll get him to talk to you next week. In fact, he was to come talk today. Unfortunately, in Pune, there's a outage of क्या बोलते हो, net because of rains. So he didn't have net. So he said, sir, I can't come today. I said, no problems. So I spoke on China. Next time we'll speak on Bangladesh. Anyone doesn't come, it doesn't matter. I'll take my subject which I can talk of. Why India is not accepting Tibet and Taiwan as independent countries? Look, we need to be politically capable of doing so. To be politically capable, you need to be economically capable. And there are issues. Maybe one of these days I'll talk about this in detail because it will take 1 hour plus to talk. Excellent point about putting in money in people's pocket versus politics. Yeah, that's the fact. That's the crux of why China will never go up back to the old time. After all, the danger of money in people's hands and people trying for more liberties is what forced Xi Jinping to turn towards hardcore communism. He will not undo that in his lifetime. Okay, the next guy can't do it. Yeah, Japan went through negative interest rates recently. They went through for nearly half a decade. Shouldn't we develop a Mandarin channel and project Indian point of view in Chinese language? I agree with you, but that's a different story. We'll talk of it. I'm analyzing China from our perspective, not to convince them. They're not having children because of the quality of relationship even amongst themselves isn't amicable. It's all about social status. They have tremendous problems. They have tremendous problems. I mean, we can't imagine the social problems because they're not coming out. Why India में तो ठीक है, people will say यार you are Hindutva character, you are a Congressy, you are TMC, this that, you talk and वो खत्म हो जाता है. The problem comes up, the problem is resolved. There the problems are not allowed to come up, they are not allowed to be resolved. They're the problems. Joy Bangla, Hafiz Yunus, oh, छोड़ दो यार, उसको क्या करना है कृष्णा. Let him come and keep yapping what he wants. There's another, Chinese chap also who's been yapping. It doesn't matter. What about purchase for lithium batteries for our EV stories? See, let me tell you, it's not as if you're going to exclude China from your trade. You should trade with China. After all, it's a huge economy. You can't run away from it. They have trade surplus with you. My guess is in the next 5-6 years, this will start whittling down and things will change. It will change. Right? We do the right things. But then you continue trading with China. Who's stopping you? Or maybe there's no harm in trading, but it's not completely giving in to BYD. Thanks for your contribution. Whatever is good is good. I have no problem. We all live for our children. China has stopped living for that. Yeah, I think so. I mean, look at it anyway. China is building their Beijing military city not for Taiwan but for the CCTV to hide when the people revolt. Yes, Ajay, I agree with you. Look, this is the only country where the army is meant to protect the government and the party in power against its own people. The primary responsibility of the PLA is to keep the CCP in power. The primary responsibility of the Indian Armed Forces is to uphold the Constitution of India. That's the difference between India and China. And that is why we will always be stronger. And the primary job of the Pakistan army is to remain in power. And they don't have a constitution. That constitution is not what the toilet paper also. You can't clean your backside with it. If you do, you will get a rash. That's the difference. Remember, our greatest strength is this. Our greatest strength is our parliament. It doesn't matter who occupies it. It doesn't matter who's the prime minister. It doesn't matter you call Rahul Gandhi an idiot and he's all that. I couldn't care a damn. But we have a leader of opposition. Good, bad or ugly. It's for the people of India to decide who these chaps are. It's not for them to decide. It is not for Asim Munir or Xi Jinping to decide the way they decide for China and Pakistan. That Mr. Modi will decide for us. We decide. Because after 3 years, he'll have to come back to us for votes. That's why our Prime Minister says Janta Janardhanan. He's not a fool. That's why he says, I'm a prime sevak. He's serving people. I respect him for that. Yeah. I watch a Chinese channel. They show videos of real China, poor rural Chinese people, dirty sewers, broken houses, Chinese people living in poverty, unemployment, food carts, and dirty hygiene. And this is going up, incidentally. I can't access all this sitting in, where I am. But what you're saying is 100% right. We don't see the seamy side of China. Whereas in India, we don't mind showing the seamy side. That's the openness. Why? Whatever is the worst in India, we show. The best is for you to see. Whatever is the worst in China is hidden. They only show you the best. That's the difference. पाकिस्तान में तो कुछ है ही नहीं है ना, छोड़ दो. Yeah, China will never fight a war. They had a one-child policy, and if the kid dies, the whole gen is gone. CCP is scared of their own people. I agree with you completely. Yeah. What do you think about this? Should we also create a strategy to deal with USA in the long term, 5 to 6 decades in the future? We need to. And I'm going to talk of it tomorrow. Yeah, you'll find some BYDs in Hyderabad. I also see one, maybe 1 in 2-3 days I see. But I think after this, things will change. Tibet demographics have been altered heavily. There are more Chinese. No, I don't think so. That study of mine doesn't say so. This is the popular perception. There's still more Tibetans. The number of Chinese have gone up because of the projects there. They go for projects, live for 4 years and run back. No one wants to settle there. Yeah, do a video on economic impacts of goods and services of Chinese annual Dantera facility. Oh yeah, yes. There are other chats who will do it. Don't. Yeah, block the trolls. Maybe I will, but that's good. They'll let them talk what they want. I don't see them also. I always feel a heart full of pride. Yeah, don't worry. You should be proud of yourself. You are the best army, the best. I've been all over the world. I think India is the best country because just the freedom, the ability to do what you want to do is not there anywhere else. Okay. Yeah. Now let me go to the end and see if there are any more questions. Yeah. Was China's reason to annex Tibet about rivers? They built almost 90,000 dams controlling all rivers. They spark interest in Kashmir to get both. In a way, you're right. Okay, but if you go into the Tibetan thinking, not Tibetan, the Chinese thinking about getting hold of Tibet and East Turkestan and all that is to give depth to the Han heartland. Unless they push the frontiers of China far away, half of Mongolia they took. Otherwise, the Mongols used to come down to China and harass them. And a lot of people used to come through the Silk Route and harass them. And even towards the north, of course, Russia, they couldn't push through. Now they're trying to push the maritime boundaries away. It's there in their mentality to keep pushing their boundaries away so that the Han heartland is secure. It's not only about rivers. Then, of course, the rivers. You get Tibet plateau, you can control Mekong, you can control Salween, you can control Irrawaddy. These are transnational rivers. Then they can control their own sources, Yangtze and Havango. It's there. It's to both. Pak interest in Kashmir is to get control of water because if you control Kashmir fully, their water is finished. Thank you. They are gone. There's a problem, major problem. Thanks a lot for your super sticker, Nat. Thanks a lot for becoming a YouTube member. Thanks a lot, SA, for your contribution. Thanks a lot for Rajendran Nair to join me as a YouTube member. I'm so grateful to all of you. Right? Okay, it's okay. We have some more time. Right? Can we put in a proactive policy to maintain our demographic dividends? We must. Otherwise, we are at risk. Already, South Indian states are showing problems. So we have to change. Yeah. How was the Indian military establishment able to getting politicized? A very good question. It is for the simple reason, the Indian military is not directly under the Prime Minister. We respond to the President as the Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces. So your allegiance is to the constitution. Your allegiance is to the government of India, not the political party in power. So that's how we grew. And plus, Mr. Nehru kept the army, navy, and the air force out of. He didn't want us, no. So if you don't want me, I also don't want you. That wall came in, and that has become a tradition. And in a way, Mr. Nehru did a good thing by separating the armed forces from the politics. If more Chinese people went back to an agrarian lifestyle, would it help? I don't think so, John. I think the time has passed. And I'll tell you why. Uh, when you are a single child, living in a farm is very difficult. Okay, for many reasons. If you are the parent of a single child, you would not like to send your child back to a farm. And if you lived your life completely in a uh, you know urban area, you can't go and live in a farm. So you can't go and live in a farm. How will you send your child to the farm? So how will you go back to that agrarian society? You can't. And agrarian societies means you have to compromise with GDP, which is anathema to the CCP. So see, China will go through a struggle. Let's be very clear about it. That struggle has started from my side. 3 years back, I couldn't think of this kind of a struggle what I'm seeing now. Though I did understand that there'll be some strife, not the way it is. It's going to get worse. What are your thoughts on politicization of the army? Well, politicization of the army has existed right from 1947. There were cases, times when army got politicized, got depoliticized. I don't think the army is politicized because I've been interacting with a whole lot of people. I was almost a senior man when I retired. I was senior to the vice chief of the army, right? All that. Uh, we are not politicized. There will be some strains. You can't live away from reality, but that is only at the higher echelons. Lower echelons have no allegiance to any political party. India has too much democracy. Why are we tolerating communist China lovers in India whose only work is to peddle Chinese propaganda? Nikhil, the point is this: India is a multicultural state, multi ethnic state, multi religious state. We need to have a very high level of tolerance and democracy. I've seen the length and breadth of our country. It's beautiful, completely different, but with basic, ethos amongst ourselves, or religion, or language, or eating habits, or cultures. When I say religion, it's not only in Hindu, it is also Hindu, it is Sikh, it is Isai, it is also Muslim, it is also other religions, Hinduism, Jainism, Buddhism. All these bind us. But all these are different. So you need to have democracy of a very high order. Yeah. Okay. Dams are on fire, no holding punches, Paki's constitution is toilet papers. I agree with you. I mean, I don't agree. I'm making a statement. I don't have a thing. Okay, fine. We have done for the day. I'll not be coming in tomorrow morning. But tomorrow morning, I'm going to put out an old video of mine on Baluchistan. That will give you a complete idea of where Baluchistan is as of today, or rather, what's the situation in Baluchistan. And maybe down the week, someday, I'll do a video on Baluchistan, how to use Baluchistan. Okay, this I did last month. I did this video last month. It's in Hindi, 1 hour. Go through it. It is quite comprehensive. It's worth your time to spend on that, right? And I have some meetings in IIT tomorrow, which this month I've neglected whatever I had to do in IIT because I had to concentrate on Op Sindoor. but I have to get back there and start working. We have some conferences going on technology for defenses. Okay, thanks a lot. Good evening and Jai Hind to all of you, and thanks for being here with me.